Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode 21 of the Built Different podcast. My name is Raul Gamboa, and I'm here with Ricky Alphonse, CEO, head in charge of everything, all the cool stuff, all the innovation going on behind Extropian, this incredible new wearable technology company that we're hoping to show you guys what is sort of happening a little bit behind the scenes, a little bit of secrets here and there, maybe by the end of this episode. And we're going to ask Ricky some cool questions about the Extropian project and how it's been to go from creating a dream to having a dream to building that dream and to finding a team that can help him build that dream. So, Ricky, I want to welcome you to the podcast. How you doing today?
Good, man. Just praying that Spectrum doesn't rough up this podcast. I'm praying that Spectrum holds strong throughout this whole thing. So fingers crossed.
Yes, fingers crossed indeed for Spectrum and their lovely internet service.
Yeah.
Last week, or sorry, not last week, last time that we talked one-on-one like this, we were talking about Extropian and sort of the journey that you've taken so far. That includes your time before the company, where your time studying at UCF, your time at different incubators and different co-working spaces in Florida, elsewhere, your conversations that you've had along the way with innovators, with investors, and eventually with people that you would end up forming a team with, right? So what happens when you finally decide to follow your dream and to act on it? When we finally do that, one of the first things we realize is we can't do this alone. We can't do this by ourselves. So once you finally realize this is my dream to act on, these are the steps that I want to take, what were your thoughts on bringing in people to help with Extropian?
Yeah, when you first start this journey, and for myself being a non-technical founder, it's scary because you're standing alone, and as ambitious as this project is, as ambitious as my vision is for this project and for the future of technology, you need to find an uber talented team. And the other part of that as well is that I'm kind of wondering, when you have this dream, is it even possible to make it? Can you find people to actually build it, and can you find people around you to kind of buy into your vision and want to take part into this thing with you? So obviously, like I said, I had the business accelerator program. I was kind of alone in that one, in that group. I was a one man team. But you know what? It took a little while to start networking and start meeting people. But once I met people, you start to meet people with the talents that they may be able to help you, they may not be able to help you. But what ended up happening, kind of after the accelerator program is, I met people, a lot of people came in, they broke promises. A lot of people, they feigned their loyalty, they turned their back on me. A lot of people promised to help with critical areas of the business that I needed help in. And, a lot of those people ended up leaving me for dead and ghosting me. But, that's kind of my gripe with this whole thing is like, you kind of understand it. We've all been there, relationships or meeting people out, for me, like you meet a girl out, or, you get the number, you talk to her, the vibes are great, everything's cool, you agree to talk to each other, and they end up ghosting you. That's somewhat understandable, but in a social setting, and it happens. It's happened to the best of us, but that shouldn't happen in business. And so that's unfortunately what happened to me. Is a lot of these people came in and talked a good game, and hey, let's do this. We're going to change the game. We're going to change this, change technology around. And what happened is, a lot of grown ass men that came in and, called themselves businessmen ended up, not fulfilling their role, not fulfilling their duty. They basically turned their backs on me. And, it was very hurtful at the time, especially ghosting, it's bad in life, but in business, I think, that's an absolute no-no. You're burning a bridge there that shouldn't be burned. And shout out to all those individuals that came in and left the right way. If it wasn't for them, they left the right way, and you know, did it as a professional, which is actually kind of sad, really, to be honest with you, Ro, because the people that left in the right way were actually students. They weren't like people that were in business, people that were going to be people that were promising to be pivotal in the business. But they could have grown to be a pivotal part of the group, but they ended up leaving and for their own reasons, but they did so in a professional manner compared to these individuals that came in that said that they were going to these great business minds and businessmen that were going to help, and they turned out they weren't great business minds. But um, you know, it it was great that they revealed themselves early, because you don't want to get too far in with people that aren't bought in and all the way in with you, especially with a startup. You need people that are bought in and that are willing to go the distance with you, willing to sacrifice with you, willing to bleed with you. And these individuals weren't. So that was one great thing that came out of these unfortunate situations at the time, unfortunate. But it also helped me to adopt a philosophy that I've carried through. I said it time and time again to everybody that's on the team. When one door closes, that means, it's paving the way for God to open up a much better door for you. And that's came true because, I actually love all of the individuals on this team, and I love the mindsets on this team. I love the skill set of everybody on this team, and everybody's bought into this vision, and everybody's bought into me and believe in me. And that's what I needed this entire time. But it took a few bad eggs to help me, find some golden eggs.
Yeah,
Um,
no, what
but
I'm
in
hearing
the
is
hmm
there's a
Go ahead.
mentality. There's a mentality of loyalty. There's a mentality of stick to
Yes.
itiveness, whatever you want to call it, of someone willing to follow through, of someone willing to sort of like be honest with their abilities, their
Yes.
expectations, like that. That's so important in business, and especially something that I would say is really in the business world. All you have is your word, your ability
hmm
to say something, and then that thing happening, right? So
Yes.
I feel like that's something that you've noticed.
Yes. No. 100%, Raul. You hit the nail on the head, and that's exactly what it ended up being. But you replace the bad egg with these, I call them golden eggs, but those golden eggs, they push harder. They're more willing to see this thing to go through to fruition. And those individuals that they may realize now that they made a mistake, and by the end they really will regretting letting opportunities slip out of their hands that are going to the ones that succeeded them. So that pushes me and drove me. And as you'll see kind of later on, like when I discuss other how things kind of unfolded, you'll see that it was a blessing. And, I thank God for everybody that's a part of this team, including yourself. You're part of this team, you're part of this dream, this vision. You latched on, and as you said before, loyalty is a big thing. It became a huge thing for me. And you've been loyal to a fault, as well as many of the others that have been I've been blessed enough to work with. So um, you know, what I was going to say as well is that it during that journey as well, and I know I've mentioned this several times, and I'll keep saying it because it was kind of like it lit a fire under me. You know what I mean? Was seeking talent to help you. When you're a non-technical founder, it's hard to vet the people, hard to vet the abilities. It's hard to know what you're looking for right away. And kind of one of the turning points for me in identifying individuals I wanted to work with was, the time that I got connected with a guy that was called a quote unquote brilliant engineer, that ended up being pretty much a jackass. But it was the time that I went out and got connected with this individual, and he basically laughed in my face when I asked him for help. And he told me that I was building, I know you've heard this one before, and I'm going to repeat this throughout probably this entire journey. He told me I was building a flux capacitor.
Hmm.
And
From Back to the
what,
Future, right?
yeah, from Back to the Future, it's basically I'm trying to build something that can't be built. And, like obviously Marty McFly and Professor or Doc, what is it, Doc? I forget
Doc
his last name.
Brown.
Doc Brown, yeah, Doc Brown were building something that nobody can ever build, and that's what this guy was alluding to. And it pushed me, it drove me. At first, it was frustrating. I went home and I just because I didn't know if this thing was capable of being built at that time. So that was like one of the most devastating nights of my life. I went home thinking, damn, like all of these things I was dreaming about, all of these things that I wanted to make happen, the vision, it maybe it can't be done. You know what I mean? I started to think that, even if it could be done, am I the person to do it? I started to like question if anybody would want to help me. Like after that, it was like it was a debilitating moment. But what ended up happening from there, is it transformed me. Like from that point on, I was like, you know what? Why am I listening to this guy? Like this dude obviously, he wasn't, he didn't want to aim high in life. I saw some of the projects he was working on, even though he's a so-called brilliant engineer. This man was aiming low, Raul. If I told you about some of the projects this guy was working on, he was showing them to me. He talked about it. I was like, you have, allegedly you have so much talent, you have so much ability. Why are you not aiming higher? Like this is like low level stuff. Like it was so at that point I knew, I don't need to be working with people like that. I need big thinkers. I need dreamers like myself. I need visionaries. And this guy was far from that. And that's I think the beauty of that though, Raul, was another story I tell all the time was from that I went into looking for the right talent. I knew if my vision is this big, if this project is going to be this amazing thing that I envisioned, and the end user is going to have these incredible experiences, and I'm bringing something new to the market that hasn't been done, I need the right minds to do that with me. I can't settle, and I was settling with this dude. I was settling with those other individuals that I had approached me and ghosted me. They weren't for this. So, God always, finds a way to make the right things happen and put the right people in your life. And even in this situation in my businesses, in my business's life, and weeded out all the weak ones and brought in the strong, and that's why I say I'm blessed to have the people on this team. And it what ended up happening from there is like I used that motivation, and it's crazy is I actually was thinking about printing a flux capacitor and putting it on my vision board, because this, that was kind of the turning point for me, with knowing what I wanted from people and knowing the culture I wanted to build, and how that kind of played itself out was when I actually reached out to Georgia Tech and I wanted to work with some of the talent they had there, because I started to look up like why, you know, I questioned myself when I had that situation with that individual, but I was like, why not me? I was watching an actual Stanford business talk today. I forget the name of the individual, but maybe we can post it in the after this is completed in the comments or the information section of the video. But this individual was like, we're all put on this earth for a certain purpose. Like, some people realize it, some people don't, and we all are given gifts, and there's always like, kind of one specific thing that each of us can bring to this world. And it resonated with me even in thinking about this episode. Is like, you know what, I was doubting myself at that time, and since then I've been more apt to kind of believe in myself, and I know I'm the person to bring this to the world. But that talk just was another reminder, like we all have a gift and we all have an ability, and we're all giving, a task or a purpose. And I think, this is obviously my purpose. And, I kind of carried that through. And, that's what, like I said, led me to Georgia Tech. And, when I went into that talk, when I went into to meet with Georgia Tech, it was to pitch the idea for, grad students, engineering grad students that were going to be leaving and heading off into the world and finding projects they want to work on. Some would latch on with the companies that they worked with, but you basically were bringing an MVP, a problem to them to see if it was feasible to build. So I walked into that building to pitch the idea, and Raul it was a frightening thing. It was like, in front of 400 engineers, here I am. I'm a non-technical founder with this product that I don't even know if it could be built. I don't know if people are going to be laughing at me like this guy did and telling me that it's not possible. And I'm walking in and I see my competition for the talent is like companies like Mercedes, companies like Porsche, who I love their products. Obviously, I'm a car guy. Bechtel, who's an amazing firm. And I'm like thinking, like, the started to think again, like, damn, am I supposed to be doing this? Like, is this possible? And this group of companies, all these students are going to want to work with them. But I used the flux capacitor kind of like shot that I took from this guy, and I made that the forefront of my pitch to them. I basically had a picture up there of it because my presentation paled in comparison to Porsche and Bechtel and all these companies because they already had like images of what they were trying to get the students to visualize and build. But for myself, I just had the pretty much one or two slides. It looked rough as hell. It was the flux capacitor, and I asked the students what if they knew what it was, and many of them did. And then I ended off with, if you believe you can build this flux capacitor, if you don't agree with anybody telling you that you cannot build this flux capacitor, I want you on my team. And by the end of the presentation, my presentation, I watched a couple more presentations. I started to see other people, the other companies pitch, and then we ended things off, and it was kind of the networking time where students, kind of came to you and said, "Hey, I want to work on this." And yeah, it resonated with the students, the message about the flux capacitor. So by that time, at the end of that, I had a group of six biomedical engineers that were working on an MVP for the company, and another group that was a mix of biomedical, mechanical, software engineers, hardware engineers, working on two different MVPs for me, and it proved the concept, and it led me to, it made me know, it let me know at that point that this is possible. Like, hey, this crazy idea I had was possible. And at that point, I was like, man, okay, these are very talented students. People believe in this. I need to find other people that believe in it. And, I needed even a greater talent than that. And that's what, led me to actually starting to work with a brilliant research engineer on the campus of Georgia Tech in his lab, and kind of going backwards, when I first had this vision, Raul, it was crazy because I started to look for other people that were doing anything similar. And the closest thing was a guy up in Massachusetts that had like he was a professor up there, but he had a company that was working on some research that was similar to what I envisioned. And at that time, I was kind of like, how could I ever work with somebody like this? This guy's amazing. Like, he had all these publications, he had all these patents. He's super super innovative guy, and everything came full circle because the engineer that I got through this process of working with these students, and the flux capacitor story, it ended up being the professor that we work with now and have worked with since that day, from Georgia Tech, is the postdoc of that professor that I referenced, that I was wondering if I could even work with anybody like that. And so I got like a younger version of that professor. So it came full circle, man. And it's just kind of the beauty of, you weeding out those bad seeds and bringing in the good ones, and, having the belief in yourself, and, staying strong and holding to your truths. You'll get these individuals in that can help you make your vision become a reality.
Oh yeah, that and going from basically being told that you're building the impossible to then essentially building the impossible with a team of six and then growing from there, right? They were able to build the MVP, which for the folks at home, it's like I believe it's minimum viable product, and it's a
Yes.
manufacturing term. And essentially, if you can picture it, this was the first Iron Man suit. This was the one that they built
Yeah.
in a cave with a box of scraps, you know.
Yeah.
And now that they proved not only is this thing in its prototype form more impressive than the things on the market, what does a final version of this thing look like? So
Yes.
I'm hearing that from this moment, this is how everything started slowly coming into fruition. You go from a team of six to maybe a slightly bigger team, a growing team, a team that's always expanding. And
Yes.
I kind of wanted to know, Once this all started to reveal itself and go into motion, I wanted to know a little bit about that sort of recruitment and growth process. So, in terms of finding that talent in areas of the business that you needed help with, I really want to know where did you end up going, and what were you looking for from individuals? I know you already mentioned that there's almost like a personality behind it on top of the skill set.
Yeah, because when you're first starting, you don't know, you only know what you know, and at that time, I just knew I needed people that could make the dream happen, make the vision happen, build the technology, other areas of the business. But you're just happy to, at that time, you're just happy to get anybody in that can help. But I think this experience has taught me, after being ghosted by these individuals, the frustration, it made me stronger, it made me more determined, it made me relentless. um and that helped me build my truths, and I figured out my truths, and the truths I wanted for this company. And above all else, and you identified it, Raul, without me even saying it. One of my biggest truths after having the early experiences was um loyalty. That's a big thing. That's a huge thing for me now. Not only in business and relationships and anything, loyalty. And loyalty to me isn't like you're gonna take a bullet for me or you're gonna kiss the ring like we're in the mafia or anything like that. But it's keeping your promises. If you say you're gonna do something, put your big boy and big girl pants on and get it done. And if you can't, then say you can't, but don't just leave. Loyalty above anything else. It made me think, with this individual with the flux capacitor, and how low his standards were. It made me want to hold this company to a higher standard, hold myself to a higher standard. A lot of people talk about thinking outside of the box. No, I don't even, I want everybody that comes into this thing to operate outside the box. I want them to believe that they can build a flux capacitor. I don't want them to anybody to that comes into this to be told that you can't do something, and just run with that, and sulk and hide, and go out and build it. Let's make it happen. Let's see what we can, what you can do. I want us to exist as and redefine what the box is. That's a big thing for us, is redefining what's possible. That's not only like a mental dogma, but it's also you know what we're doing with the products, and our way of engineering and innovating.
Yeah, I think
Let's
it was
redefine the box.
I think it was Elon who he was in the media, I think a year or two ago, for having a
Hmm.
conversation about how he feels very strongly that one of the most amazing things humans can do is doing things, being productive,
Hmm.
always creating, always doing more, always, you know, putting in effort to get something. A lot of times in the engineering space too, a lot of people in the engineering space feel that way, where getting
Hmm.
those accomplishments done, creating that flux capacitor, literally redefining what's possible. That's science at the end of the day. What we weren't able to do
Yes.
100 years ago, we're able to do today, and what we can't do today, we'll be able to do in the future.
Agreed. 100%. Yeah. I mean, you hit the nail on the head there again, Raul. Yeah, we're just striving to change the game, and we want game changers. We want people that are willing to like try new things, do new things. Like, we're trying to exist completely different in the end user's mind. We want end users to end up, having a different type of relationship with technology than they thought they could ever have. We want people to see technology different, interact with technology differently. We're really just trying to be, help everybody be the best version of themselves. We're trying to be the best company we can be, the most innovative company we can be. And with that, I think there's the need, another facet of what we, identified what we needed to look for were people that were willing to constantly learn. If you're not growing, you're dying. We wanted individuals that wanted to learn and grow, and not only learn but also teach others. So, I've learned a lot from you, Raul, and I hope in turn you learned a lot from me. But that's the kind of relationship that I want in bringing people in, is like, let's all learn from each other. Let's all grow. throughout this experience, I want everybody that comes into this, and we've identified and brought in people that feel this way as well. But I want everybody to be more well-rounded people when they leave this experience, or when they move on to another experience, or just throughout this process, we should just be well-rounded people in every way that we possibly can, because we have so much an accumulation of so much talent and so many different skill sets and so many different minds, that we should all just be picking little pieces from each individual and just becoming the best version of ourselves. And there's nothing cooler than a friend coming to you and asking you a question, and maybe that's not your area where you went to school, the area that you went to school for, or like your area of expertise, but you learned enough from somebody else on the team about the subject that you can help that individual, or you can connect them with somebody. Or I think that's the most beautiful thing about a startup and this and the business and the culture that we're trying to build, is that everybody that's in this, we're all learning from each other, and we're all learning different things and different facets of business and finance and engineering, data science, software engineering, material science. I mean, manufacturing. It's just like, it's
Everything.
really amazing. Yeah. And, I think you've learned a lot as well, like even being, our marketing arm, about those different areas of
Oh yeah,
business.
no,
And,
completely. I have, and not only have like I learned something from all of you, and you guys have learned something from me, and sort of like my marketing work. We're able to trade back and forth. This is really the only company that I've sort of had the pleasure of working with and being a part of that values both collaboration and a little bit of friendly rivalry. It's really fun. It's really it's really fun. So in terms of the need for constant learning, I think that's there. I think that that's something that pretty much everyone in this team, we're always trying to collaborate. We're always trying to work together on something. Uh,
hmm
but then there's also that other side, right? There's also fun rivalry aspect, right?
yeah, as you guys saw on like one of our past episodes, I think it was the Super Bowl episode, we're competitive. Sean and Justin were at each other's throat about the fantasy football league. But this is what we love. Like, we're super competitive. We and with each other we're competitive. Like when we go on company trips, we're sitting there playing air hockey. Sean probably won't want to talk about that, but yeah, we play air hockey. He got me in disc golf, but we love to compete, and it's not only with each other. Like, I wanted to bring in competitors, people that were willing to, fight, people that are willing to go through the fire with each other, people that were willing to go out and try and compete and kick ass, you know what I mean? Kick other companies' asses, in a good way. Just compete, and I think competition and being a competitor, it brings out the best in the team, it brings out the best in the product. It's a good thing for the market as a whole if you're a competitive company. I mean, because you're gonna always be delivering something that is innovative, something that people need, something that people enjoy, because competition breeds, just innovation. And that's one of the other facets of what, the individuals that we wanted to bring into the company.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've definitely seen that, like you said, even in the podcast, we'll catch little glimpses of the sort of competitive spirit, like, oh, I got to that first, or like, I was able to beat you at this, or anything like that. I think it keeps us alive. It keeps us, up and awake and present in the work that we do. So I'm totally in agreement with that as like a truth to this company.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of other truths that maybe I can lay out later, or it might be kind of on our socials or websites. But I do believe, though, Ro, once you figure out those truths, it makes it easier for you to identify the individuals that have those same type of characteristics that you want, that you may have, that the company is looking for. But it allows you to, you begin then to see, get the people that see your vision, and your vision becomes their vision, your baby becomes their baby. It's allowed us as a company to create a company culture around those truths. And what I found out that was important to for myself and the company, that strangely, like everybody that's kind of came in once I identified those truths, fit those truths. They fit the model of Extropian. And we've brought in like countless people that has bought in, and the beauty of it is they believe in me as a leader. They believe in the product that we're creating. They believe in the vision. They believe in the long term goals that we have for the consumers, and just changing the game, and innovating and creating this just new type of experience for people. And Sean's came in. He's been loyal to a fault. You guys have came in, Agora, and been blessed us with all of your help and loyalty, and anything that we ask, you guys are always there for us. Justin came in, and Tao. We're blessed to have her and her husband now, and Matthew, and
You guys have
yeah,
great.
Dan, our advisor, Chris and Daniel S, and Gino, and it's really been a blessing. The people that we've been able to get in, like just uber talented
Data science
people,
team.
yeah, the data science team, Bhuvanesh. I definitely cannot forget Bhuvanesh, and others that are going to be coming into this. And we've had a lot of people coming to us with interest in joining the team now. It's crazy how it all unfolded, Raul. From me being at my kitchen table and banging my head on the table and alone, and kind of wondering and hoping and trying to figure things out, to people actually buying into the crazy vision I had at the beginning, and making it their baby, making it their pride and joy, and doing everything they can to make it all work out, and lending their skill set, lending their mindset. I mean, we have some really, I think about it all the time. We have some really, really talented people, and if I would have not allowed, God, I always think that God paves the way, but I could have been stuck with these other individuals that weren't, the caliber of what this company needs. They could have ghosted me at an important, critical time later on that could have hurt me, hurt the company. You know, the vision might not have been as big. They might have tried to lower the limit the vision and put like a glass ceiling on it. And everybody that's came into this, and even Georgia Tech, our research and development arm, that lab, Dr. Yao and his lab. I mean, it's phenomenal the talent that we have, and I'm thank God I'm blessed, and I love everybody that's in this company, and I'm ready to go to battle every day with everybody, and that's what it should be. And thank God it all panned out and worked out that way.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Ricky. I agree 100%. And I do see the growth happening before our very eyes, like in terms of fans being interested in what's coming up next, but also in terms of even people asking about how to join the company, right? So it comes from all directions, and I do want to ask, sort of like what do you have to say for those that want to join this movement, this new sort of extropian direction for people?
Yeah, bro, we're definitely building a movement, man. We're trying to change the game here. Like we are building a culture. Like you know, technology's gotten a little stale in my opinion, probably in a lot of people's opinion. We're reigniting it. We're bringing something new to the market. We're creating a new lane. We're just changing the dynamics of the way people view technology, the way they exist with technology. We say we want to have like a symbiotic relationship with technology. We want the user to have a symbiotic relationship with technology, and we think we're doing that better than anybody else right now. And yeah, that's your mission is to, if anything that I said resonates with you, if you're willing to compete, you want to think outside the box. You have game changing ideas, and you're not willing to let others, kind of put a damper on your fire. You want your fire to shine bright, and for that to that fire to exist within a company, within a project, within technology. We'd love to have you. We're building an all-star team, like I mean, it's not even an all-star team, a legendary team. And every day, it's crazy when we need a skill set, that individual just they come into the company, they reach out or we identify them and they hop on. Like it's been every step of the way we've needed something. An individual has came into the fold and they fit the truths that I laid out. They fit the culture that we're building. And so if you feel like you fit the truths that I laid out, you feel like you fit the culture, you want to change the world and, make, basically build a world where, people don't settle for what's possible. They do the impossible. Come join Extropian. We want to have you, reach out. Obviously our socials have information. You could go to our LinkedIn. But yeah, just reach out, be a part of this movement, man. We're gonna change the game. We're gonna change this world. So if that all everything that I'm saying is kind of big phrases and terminology and all this terminology and kind of euphoric words speak to you, come join us.
Yeah, no, it's as simple as that. If innovation is part of your vocabulary, we want you to be a part of this movement. So whether it's following the socials down below, reaching out to Ricky, with any questions, or any comments, we want to hear it all. We're really interested into what's coming, and we want to keep sharing more and more about this upcoming product. So definitely stay tuned on LinkedIn, on Twitter, everywhere. We're everywhere. So, Ricky,
Let's,
I want
let's
to. Oh, what's
I was
up?
gonna say, Raul, let's build a flux capacitor, everybody. If you want to do that, come join us. I'm always gonna go back to that flux capacitor, Raul.
Yes, no, yeah, and that's as simple as that. Is there's two types of people in the world: someone who says, no, that's impossible, and someone who says, let's build it, right? And
Yes,
that
sir.
second, yeah, absolutely, sir. But yeah, that's an amazing story, and it was definitely worth sharing. Are there any more thoughts that you have on the idea of sort of building that dream team, Ricky? Maybe some advice for someone who's building their own dream team out there.
Yeah, I mean, just your vision has to come first. You have to identify your truths, and just you need to surround yourself with individuals. You're not going to know everything. You're not going to even if you're the one building this thing, you're not going to know everything. You always need to surround yourself with people. They always say surround yourself with people smarter than yourself, and I feel like I've done that with everybody. Everybody on this team is in their own rights, and in their own ways and in their own skill sets, greater, from a knowledge standpoint than I am. And that's what you need to do. You can't have an ego and say you're going to do everything. You can't rule with an iron thumb. You need to give people, let people, kind of breed their own levels of innovation into it. You got to let people speak their their mind, have their present their ideas. And I think that free flowing, level of information and sharing of knowledge and everything, it's what breeds innovation and allows a company to just build, game changing and life changing products. So, that's what we're doing. And, if that's your goal in life is to do something similar to what we're doing and you want to change the world in some form or fashion, just bring in great people. Over time, you'll be able to identify who's, real and who's not. And you'll weed out all the bad individuals. And, transparency is everything as well. So just allow for transparency, allow people to come in and just innovate. Let's have a community. It's about building a community and building a strong culture first and foremost, and never relenting on your truths.
Absolutely, Ricky. That's some great advice. I think I'm gonna leave it there. If there's nothing else, that was an incredible episode of the Built Different podcast. We were able to go over not just the dream and the idea of following that dream, but then building a team to implement everything, to create, to innovate, and to create that next step to create a movement for this company.
Hmm.
So thank you so much, Ricky, for sitting down with us. We're going to keep doing these sort of one-on-ones where we learn a little bit more about Extropian. we learn a little bit more about Ricky, and then we'll learn a little bit more about the device coming up soon. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, share your advice about building a team down below, maybe what you've learned in your time. Thank you, everybody. Again, my name is Raul Gamboa. I'm here with Ricky Alphonse, CEO of Extropian. Thank you guys so much. Have a good one.